Just kind of hiking, just checking out the scenery around me.
One video does not define a person.
I'm back in game design.
But it can define a moment.
Progress every day is the main goal.
A good moment in Angelo Quinto's life.
Trying to keep my mind clear, trying to keep myself healthy.
8 minutes recorded 1 year.
Okay, all right, whatever, I'm talking too much.
1 year before his mother recorded another moment.
Does he have a pulse? What's happening?
Angelo Quinto was 30 years old when Antioch, California police officers responded to a mental health call.
I was there the whole time. I was watching.
His mom and sisters say, minutes before Angelo stopped breathing, officers held him down like this.
The knee and the shin part was like over here. This part.
A lawsuit she filed this year says officers held a handcuffed Angelo in a prone position, as officers said they were not going to kill him.
Actually, they even said, this is what we do to calm them down, you know, when they were doing it.
Cassandra Quinto Collins did not know then what she does know now.
I wish I could have said something when I saw it, because at that time when it was happening, it didn't look like he was gonna die.
Her son represents 127 on our list, a list that now includes the names and faces of 131 people who died following prolonged prone or face-down restraint. Deaths that have led to at least $145 million in settlements and verdicts.
Sir, we're not killing you.
You're not going to die. Stop.
Hey, you're okay. You're okay. You're gonna be all right.
We're gonna pulse, but I'm not feeling any breathing on there.
Nothing.
You're not getting nothing.
Our investigation began shortly after the death of David Baker in Aurora, Colorado in 2018. Since then, we've viewed dozens and dozens of videos documenting the final moments of the lives of people like...
Yep. Just prone him out.
People like Anton Black in Maryland.
Get off my wrist. I can't breathe. You're talking. I can't breathe.
John Neville in North Carolina.
Think we could roll him on the side?
I don't want to lose what I got, man.
And Mario Gonzalez in California. What we had yet to see until we met the family of Angelo Quinto.
Oh my goodness, it's just long overdue.
Was a story capable of doing more than outlawing chokeholds, a hold that was never used on Quinto.
The carotid and chokeholds they were long overdue, but they were a lot more obvious than prone restraints and positional asphyxia.
Positional asphyxia. It is the language Angelo's sister Bella wanted included in California Assembly Bill 490, a bill California's governor signed into law in September. It prohibits unreasonable pressure on a restrained person's neck, torso, or back, something the U.S. Department of Justice recommended in 1995 because it can lead to trouble breathing and sudden death.
He was not violent. He was not resisting. He was not on drugs.
Today, only California and Nevada prohibit police officers from using prolonged prone restraint. Colorado could consider adding legislation as soon as next year. In the meantime, prosecutors in Colorado now have a local precedent when it comes to a criminal conviction.
You understand that this is not like you're not in trouble. This is just you're not safe right now.
When a pair of Boulder County deputies placed a handcuffed and prone Demetrius Shankling in the back of a van too small to fully fit his frame, they did so in a way that went against their own training.
Face down, handcuffed behind the back was typically the position that they were repeatedly trained to get somebody out of.
The Office of District Attorney that handled the case says the training is so basic, so easy to understand, that once the deputies ignored it, they committed a felony known as manslaughter.
They never should have engaged in this behavior. They certainly should have known, and that's what we were able to prove to the jury.
What should they have known?
That you don't put someone in that position with their handcuffs on behind their back, and that there could be deadly consequences as a result.
At trial, we heard extensive testimony about the training that Mr. Lunn and Mr. O'Brien participated.
Last month, the two deputies received 3 and 6 years in prison, respectively. Of the 131 deaths on our list, we've now found 7 attempts to prosecute the officers involved, most of which have happened since the death of George Floyd, 123rd on our list.
When George Floyd died, was killed, and that was broadcast all over news and media, social media, everywhere, right?
So, of course, Angelo Quinto saw the video too, saw George Floyd die underneath those officers.
And he just had a really difficult time watching it. He felt a lot of pain.
Please. Please.
And while that video did not define a life, it did define a moment in that life, as it would eventually define.
Does he have a pulse?
A moment
What's happening?
in Angelo's life as well.
To think that a few months later it would happen to him is completely heartbreaking, really.
Prosecutors never did charge the officers involved in this death. Chris Vanderveen, 9 News.
Just today, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin admitted to a federal judge that he was trained on the dangers of prone restraint and ignored that training when he held George Floyd face down for more than 9 minutes. Chauvin pled guilty today to violating Floyd's civil rights.